Testing. Okay, so this will be manga, or not really a manga, more like a Hong Kong comics suggestion to read, which is titled The Ravages of Time by Chan Mo. It's a Hong Kong comics, and then it is the retelling of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, basically the famous novel in China. And rather than talk about, because in the original novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the main characters are more like Liu Bei and Zhong and Zhu Giliang, but in this version, the main character is Sima Yi, or Zhongga as he's called, and he is involved. It basically tells what happened uh, during that time based on his point of view. And I think it's for those who like the Kingdom manga. I think people will also like the Ravages of Time because it goes deep into the I would call the Sun Tzu's Art of War. I would argue that it's even better. It goes deeper than Kingdom because Kingdom kind of focus on the actual war, on the actual battle when there is a war going on. But in this manga, I'll just call it manga for now. I forgot what it's called in if it's a Chinese Hong Kong comics. So in this manga, we most of the strategies here are long-term strategies in case they have a follow-up plan and even after the current battle happened, and it also involves lots of politics and a lot of assassinations involved. In a sense, politics is involved in the actual war itself. So there we go. So it is, as I said, it's focused on Sima Yi. Basically, Sima Yi is a known minister in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. He's sort of a villain there, but as I said, he's the main character here. We started here at the fall of the Han Dynasty, and basically, you can say that the first part focuses on the coup of of a of a military general named Dong Zuo. He basically is the main villain of the first part. He sort of the main trigger of the series because uh, he kind of pressure the merchants in this war, and that's where it all started. Because Sima Yi is is sort of a merchant, a businessman in this. He started off as a businessman in this story, and not exactly a businessman, more like a consultant for his family because he's too young when this story started, but he's already a mastermind at that time. He's very smart, one of the smartest characters I've seen. And characters later will appear that can sort of go toe to toe with him when it comes to outsmarting people, but I think he still remains on top, even in the curiousest chapter of the manga right now. So right now, as of recording this, I think there's around 612 to 613 chapters of the Ravages of Time, and so far it's been a great run. I think I enjoy it a lot. So aside from that, Dongzuo is also a great character, and I think my personal favorite here is the God of War, Lu Bu. I think this is the best Lu Bu version I've seen because this Lu Bu is not just what to call a raging warrior, or he's not just some beast. He's not just some powerful guy, and he's also a strategist here. And because they made a good point here that Lu Bu, he can't command so many military sort of he cannot command so many military in being just a strong guy. So he also has that strategic prowess that he have. And we see that later because Lubu, he does make some pretty good strategy in here. I would argue he might be on the same level as some of the smartest character in here. I think actually I think he's one of the smartest character in here. He just has problems because people really considered him a threat, and later of course he goes off. He showed how strong he is, which is how history remembers him. A very strong character. I think he is the most powerful, or rather the strongest character in this in this universe, I would say. Oh, in this story, Lubu, yeah, Lubu probably is the strongest character in the story. Even in the latest, when there are already stronger characters saying that they are on his level, they always say he is the new Lubu, and or the modern Lubu. They always compare themselves to Lubu. So, and he goes off later in the story, like I said. And then, of course, the second part of the story, I would say, is the rise of Cao Cao, which is, I think, this is the most important part because Sima Yi really gets involved here. He goes personally here. This is where we know him in the in the novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdom. He's as part of Cao Cao's army, or he's in Cao Cao's side, but he has ulterior motive being with Cao Cao at this point. Basically, it will focus on the rise of Cao Cao later on, and I think this is the longest part because this is the part where all of China, or should I say the Han Dynasty, the Han Empire, will be divided into the three kingdoms. And finally, we have the eight geniuses. Geniuses. Basically, they will be active during the rise of Cao Cao. All of them. Some of them were already active during the fight against Dong Zhuo, but the eight geniuses will be active later, and they are some of the smartest characters I've seen in fiction. So yeah, for the eight geniuses, all of them have their own specialty. Uh, I think aside from one or two of them, but all of them have their own specialty when it comes to conducting war, and all of them have really complicated plans. I would say the plans when it comes to conducting war in this series is way more complicated than Kingdom manga, but it's very enjoyable once you get it. So I think that's a good part. There might be some problems here in the Ravages of Time because we have sort of a main character issue because although Sima Yi is really the main character, we don't really follow him all the time. As a matter of fact, we rarely see him if you compare him to most of other main characters. So people do get confused who exactly is the main character. But Sima Yi or Zongda is the main character, and although it can get quite confusing, all of the plots that are happening in the story do lead back to him, and he is sort of the trigger of the many major events going on in this story. So yeah, there we go. So I think it's a good read. I would suggest this story, The Ravages of Time by Chan. Okay, thank you.